beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchi, and thank you very much for joining us, as always. A lot has happened in the week that's passed. President Buhari, we've seen a lot more pictures of him finally, and a video this time. His media team, alongside the senior special advisor or assistant, I'm not sure, the SSA, so the President on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, Matthias Abike-Dabiri, was there with the President's media team in London to visit him, and we did see pictures and video alongside the Minister of Information. And he did say categorically that he's feeling well, but can't return yet until the doctors clear him, and he's learned, in his words, to listen to doctors' orders. So as things stand, it looks like we might be having Mr. President back in the country anytime soon. I mean, it's great news, like I've said here every week. It's only right that he comes back to complete the job that he was elected to do. So once again, we do hope that he comes back as soon as possible. Not to say that there's a vacuum per se. I mean, the acting president has been holding forth and doing quite a decent job, but it will be only right that the team is complete and he comes back to complete what he's doing. So, I mean, great to finally see him. It took us almost 100 days, because it'll be 100 days tomorrow since Mr. President left the country, and that's a lifetime in any presidency. And as a lot of statistics were put out this week, I think he's been out of the country this year much longer than he's been in Nigeria, and I think it's only right that we have him back as soon as possible. Speaking of the president now, the protests and the rallies have continued to go on in Abuja. The resume or resign protesters have continued to clash with the police, and they're not holding back. I think today will be day 6 or 7 since the protests began, and they're simply, I think their message is pretty clear. Mr. President needs to either come back and resume his job or resign if he can continue, and there's been a lot of conversations going on with that. People are not sure if there have been if anyone is sponsoring the team. I mean, I don't think that's a fair thing to say anyways, because the fact is, I think it's a very fair thing to ask of the president. And it looks like his reception of his media team in London was almost a response to that, to say, okay, I'm fit, I'm going to be coming back soon. So, I mean, it's a democracy. It's only fair that people are allowed to protest peacefully, which I think has been the case, and hopefully it continues that way. We're going to switch gears now and talk about other things. Like I always say with Nigeria, there's always too much to talk about, and if you continue, we might take up our entire hour here talking about Mr. President and all that happens in Nigeria. But I want to talk about something quite interesting. We're going to be talking gambling on the show today. It's not a very well discussed topic here, or explored topic in Nigeria. It's starting to gain ground seriously, especially online and with the sports side of things. And I have here with me a physician who's going to help me dissect this topic. Nesochi Okeke Ibuke, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So we're going to be talking gambling, and I'm not always sure how to define it, you know, because it looks like there's so many sides to it. There's the betting side. I mean, how much of a whole is the term gambling?
So gambling can encompass many things, but what we're really going to be talking about today is the online aspect of things, online betting, sports gambling, really. Yeah. That's what I think the focus is going to be on. Is
that because that's what's sort of taking root in Nigeria now?
Exactly.
And why is that a big deal now in Nigeria?
So it's a growing and booming industry, the gambling industry, and the reason why it's so booming at this point is because we have technology. With the advent of technology, you have easier access to actually gamble all the time. Just with a hit of a button, you can get on your phone and you can start betting on sports and different games.
Yeah, no need to travel to Vegas.
Exactly. Wake up in the middle of the night and you can gamble if you want to.
Is it a surprise, though, that Nigeria is starting to catch on with this? I mean, not that we're never really a part of it. I know that for as long as I've known in Nigeria, betting has always been a big deal here. But it looks like it's cutting across generations now, because I remember back in the day, it was mostly my older uncles or older people who would go and cut out newspapers and have all of these things they would bet on with regards to football. But now you see young people everywhere, I mean, signing up to all of these sites, and, you know, what is different now?
So what's different now, you can kind of look at the state of the economy. Some people now want to use this as a means to actually support their livelihood. So you see a lot of young people thinking, you know, this is a quick fix for them to actually make money, to provide for themselves, for their families. So I think that's what the root of it all is at this point. Yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of places where laws are always an issue with regards to that. With Nigeria now, there's a lot of cultural and religious angles to it. And people would say, oh, Christians or Muslims shouldn't be engaging in things like that. And seeing how religious we are, cultural we are, is it not a surprise that that is not hindering it?
I'm not surprised that that's not hindering it at all. Like I said before, there are lots of people who really depend on this to support themselves. So it's not a surprise at all, despite any religious backgrounds or cultural differences, that people are going into gambling like this.
But is it a good thing, though?
Is it a good thing that they're going into? So, I mean, I'm not here to judge anybody or talk about their morality, but I think the main thing is that we need to understand what some of the repercussions are of gambling and some of the problems that can arise with problem gambling.
Okay, let's start with signs now. I want to talk about addiction.
Yes.
There are people who they wake up, they eat, they drink, they sleep gambling.
Exactly.
And that's all they're thinking about. Because you wake up, you're like, okay, I haven't done today's own.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was at a barber shop 2 days ago.
Okay.
And the barber who was cutting my hair, we're watching a football game. I think it was Arsenal playing, I can't remember now, Leicester City,
Okay.
And Leicester scored the first goal, and he just dropped the clip, and he's like, damn, there goes my money for the week. So I think he had bet that Arsenal was going to score the goal first.
Yeah.
So there's people who are, every move they make is just revolves around that now.
Exactly.
So at what point do you realize that it's a problem?
Okay. So there are certain signs that will let you know that you do have a gambling problem. And there's actually a medical term for someone who has this gambling addiction. It's called ludomania. And essentially it's an addiction disorder of impulse control. So you don't have any control of the impulses, and it leads you to want to gamble all the time. Okay, and the signs to look out for: telltale sign, if you're willing to harm yourself or harm other people just to gamble, then that's a real huge red flag that you have a problem.
Yeah.
Another sign is if you've tried to cut back in the past and you're not able to cut back on it, that's an issue as well. Okay, if you're willing to steal or lie, commit crimes in order to support your habit, that's another sign as well. So there are certain things that you need to look out for, especially if it starts ruining relationships you have with family members and loved ones. That's another sign that you may have a problem.